Italy 20, Ireland 34. Give us the overall picture, first of all.
Overall picture, I think Italy were outstanding. For me, that was the story of the day. It was the best performance we've seen from them, I would say, in 4 or 5 years. Ireland were good without being great. They attacked very well. I think their concentration let them down a little bit at times throughout the day. Defensively, there was a number of mishaps. I think Gary Ringrose was a loss. Overall, I'm not sure how happy Andy Farrell will be, but a bonus point on the road, Grand Slam hopes still alive.
Second half, up until the Mac Hansen try on 70 minutes, it was 3 points apiece just for the second half. That's poor by the standards this team have set, no?
Well, it's the old story with Italy. We want Italy to get better, but not that much better. You know, as long as they're not good against us. And I agree with Rob. I thought Italy were outstanding. I think they left possibly 3 tries on that field. They should have finished off. They made the breaks, they did the hard work, and a couple of small errors let them down. But they're massive, massive things. Let's switch that on its head, come back to Ireland. I'm Andy Farrell, all the things that Robbie said are very valid. But with the number of players, starting players, to come back into that side that are injured or out, looking forward to the World Cup, I think Andy Farrell would be very happy to have given all those players so much time. Ross Byrne got almost a whole match. Tom O'Toole came on. I hope Finlay Williams' injury is not too severe. I think he might have just strained a medial there by the look of it, which might be a couple of weeks. But, you know, O'Toole came on. All the players, Ronan Kelleher got time. Baird got a little bit of time. We saw Henderson come back. Bundyaki was outstanding with the ball in hand. But it tells us there's a big difference defending at 12 to defending at 13. And Gary was really missed in that defensive role. Lots and lots of pluses in that game. I thought the other part, the first half was a cracking 40 minutes of rugby again. Really entertaining, Andrew, and the ball in hand. I thought it was really positive for rugby as a game.
It gave us a fright, I think, in that long periods in that game. It gave us a bit of a fright, and it was that kind of balance of concern about this Grand Slam, being a threat, and then obviously potentially kind of disrupting what Ireland are doing, but also being delighted to see Italy play such good rugby. A couple of weeks ago they played against France. Played outstanding rugby, played really, really well. They were better for long periods today. From an Irish perspective, I thought, a couple of lapses in concentration around our defence. I thought we just looked a little bit more vulnerable. Ringrose, definitely, everybody always says it, it's the most difficult position in the pitch to defend. And last minute, Bundy moving out from 12 to 13 is difficult. He's on the bench, so he should kind of have an awareness of being able to cover that anyway, but Ringrose does that so well. And I think we took it for granted as well. The other one is Doris. Not Doris not being on the pitch, but just not being at 8. It made a massive impact on that game. Everything about Ireland and their phase play looks good. When Doris gets on the ball, they look good. They look more of a threat. They look more dynamic. And him being at 6 it just made such a big difference.
So explain that, because O'Mahony went to the bench. Doris, who has been 8 and spectacularly so, he moved to 6. Jack Conan, a British and Irish line, went to 8. We didn't see much of Doris. You remarked, got to the first hour. Doris has hardly been in the game. Well, the requirements is 6 versus 8. Why can't we have Doris in the game at 6?
Yeah, you just, at 8, you have a little bit more freedom to pick and choose your moments to join rucks off first, second, third phase. Your 6 primarily responsibility might be to get to some rucks. Your number 8 will spend a little bit more time on the edges of the field, out in those 15-metre channels. We see Josh van der Fleer out there quite a bit. And, we know Doris started out most of his career at 6 and then through injury moved to 8 and just excelled there. I think this Irish coaching staff would probably like to have both Conan and Doris in the back row. Whether today was another opportunity to see if it did work and if it's something they could keep doing going forward.
And for you, is today the death knell of any movement of Doris from 8 now?
Yeah, I think so. I think he just adds so much to the team at number 8.
Okay.
He is the outstanding player in this team over the course of the last season.
He's world class at 8, and this is teams change and grow and move over the years, and he is just so outstanding as an 8 now. You're weakening a strength to strengthen a weakness. So I think it now comes down to he's our best number 8. What do we do about 6? Does Peter O'Mahony remain there? Is he doing enough? Is there another one? And the other person that will come into consideration there, in my opinion, is Baird, because he will grow into that role as someone that starts in the second row and moves to 6. Now, whether he gets there before the World Cup, whether he's done enough to take out Peter O'Mahony, I don't think so right now. But I think that's a future and a progression.
Well, he's a bad year with injuries,
He has.
Baird, so maybe he might make a
giving
late dash.
They're giving him a lot of opportunities to ensure that he gives himself the very best possibility of starting. And not all players get that.
Yes,
you know,
they see his potential clearly.
Well, he's got an enormous amount of potential, enormous.
Incredibly athletic guy.
Yeah, but he hasn't really hit it, and concentration is something that he probably needs to work on as well. But coaches take a real liking to some players, and they say we're going to give them every opportunity to find their very best form.
And to be fair to Farrell, I think what they're doing is the what ifs. What if we lose 2 back rowers?
Yes.
You know, what if we get, and back rowers are in a highly confrontational position. What if 1 week you lose 2 players, 2 of your starting back rowers in a World Cup? What do we do?
Yeah.
So I think there's plenty of pluses there.
We've been pushing our luck though. I think so. Initially, Furlong's injured. What do we do? Answer that question. 9, 10. Answer those questions. Henshaw's out. Answer that question. And it has to get to the point where it starts to make an impact. And I think we saw that today.
Yeah.
Without Ringrose, we struggle. And without Doris at 8, I think we struggle.
To what extent was the 9, 10 question answered? Gibson Park, there's a good chance throughout a World Cup he maintains his fitness. I think increasingly Johnny Sexton, his age, he's breaking down a touch more. So that 10 question in particular is going to be asked in the World Cup. What do we see today?
I would say that they were competent without being excellent. Of the 2, I'd say probably Ross Byrne was marginally better than Casey. He dictated play very well. Ireland attacked very well. And generally, if the team attacks very well, you've got to give the 10 an awful lot of the credit. I think it's probably quite clear now that Ross Byrne is our second choice, number 10. That has been a huge question over the last couple of years.
Competent doesn't sound anything to get too excited by, though.
Well, neither of them had their best top-class performance, but they were still good.
I think it's also, Rob, to defend Robbie, I think I said excellent before, and Robbie said, do you think we went through it and we both come up with competent?
Okay.
And at international level, it's hard to be a 9 and 10. You get far less time than you do at club level, and especially at Leinster and Munster, where they tend to dominate games, especially at home.
Yeah.
So you've got far less time, you've got to make decisions quicker. And therefore, that's why this is so important. It takes time to readjust. So Ross hasn't started a Six Nations game. Was it 4 years, or was this his
ever?
First?
I think
ever.
First.
It was his first start in a Six Nations. So he started some other games with England in a warm up for a World Cup.
Yes.
I mean, it's hardly. You're not playing for sheep stations. If you don't play well today, you don't get a Grand Slam. So I think exposing them to pressure like that is really valuable for the players.
Okay, so in that context, competent is more than acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay.